dude with the beard here. I mean, okay, so this is a common thing that the extreme right does. Okay, in my mind, there is no such thing as feeling like a woman, and I agree. I don't have that in my mind either. That doesn't mean that other people don't. I don't know why that's such a hard thing for folks to understand. So you weren't born that way, but they were. You think they're just all lying? And why would they be lying? And this whole thing of calling people who don't think like you mentally ill is actually super stupid. It's literally unintelligent. Okay, so people think in different ways. They have different proclivities, including sexual proclivities and gender proclivities. If you can't understand that simple concept and you think anyone who doesn't think like me is mentally ill, there's actually something profoundly wrong with you.
All right, Andrew
Well,
Wilson, there's
nobody.
something profoundly wrong with you.
Yeah, sure. Well, nobody said. Yeah, what was articulated to you was something which is
Yeah, it's
pure
actually
logic.
kind of exactly
Which,
what you said.
well, yeah, what was
Pure
articulated to you was
logic.
pure logic, and I'll explain the pure logic. You have no comparison to make as a male for what a female does even feel like. That's how we know it's a mental illness, Sank. It's really simple. The law of identity. I hope that you know what logic is because that's what that is. It's the law of identity. You can't make a comparison for what it is to feel like a female, Sank. It's not possible because you're not one. That's how that works. Stop trying to gaslight me. Stop trying to pretend that I don't know what a male is, what a female is. Stop trying to pretend that I don't know what mental illness is. The mark of mental illness is irregularities in behavior. That's how you know what it is, Sank. How else would you even know?
Jane?
So, okay, that doesn't make any sense at all, and it defies logic completely. So, first of all, you say, how would I know what's inside their heads? That's my point to you, brother. It just seems like
wasn't
you
my
have
question,
trouble
Sank.
understanding simple,
My question
rational
to you is,
reasoning,
how can you
which
make
is,
a
how would you
comparison?
know what's in a trans person's head?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if it's your first time here. My name is Natalie Beisner and I am a political commentator. So let's jump right into it today. I've made videos on this in the past, but they were all short form and it's also been a minute. So let's dive into it for today. Uh, yeah, you can't know you feel like a woman unless you're a woman. It's impossible. The entire basis for knowing you feel like a woman is first being a woman. Otherwise, how do you know that what you're feeling is feeling like a woman? You can't know. If you're someone in a male body, your entire perception of what it is to feel like a woman or what it means to be a woman, it's all just that. It's just perception. It's based off of your observation as, again, someone in a male body, your observation of the women in your life, women in the media, women around you. But it's not actually based on reality. If you're someone in a male body, you can't access the female experience, you can't access the woman experience except for second hand. You can never access it yourself firsthand, because you're a male and you're not a female. And so you can't know that what you're feeling is feeling like a woman. Same way I can't know what it is to be a man or what it is to feel like a man. Now I can try to understand it. I can try to be gracious towards it and empathetic towards it. And in fact, I believe that I should try to do that as a woman. I think the world would be a better place if more women tried to understand and respect men and the way they feel, and more women tried to, or vice versa, whatever I said, I don't even remember. If we all tried to understand and respect the opposite gender a little bit more, the world would be a better place. But that's for another video. But I, as a woman, can only have a perception of what it is to be a man, what it is to feel like a man. Now, obviously, there are universal human experiences that both genders can access, but there are also male only experiences that females can't access, and female only experiences that males can't access. And even beyond the fact of male only and female only experiences, your entire life, everything that you experience from birth is colored by the fact of you being either male or female. That's just the reality. From the moment that I am born, I'm having a female experience. From the moment that you are born, if you're male, you're having a male experience. And everything that I feel, everything that I experience, everything that I am from birth up until and through this moment is colored by the fact of me being female. And if I were born in a male body, I wouldn't be me anymore. I would be an entirely different person. It makes no sense to even conceive of myself in a male body because I would not be myself. Myself is colored by the fact of my femaleness. So again, we can't access, even though we have shared universal human experiences, we can't access what the opposite gender is feeling because we were not born as the opposite gender. And not to get too, I don't know, philosophical or convoluted about it, but even as a woman, I don't necessarily know that I know what it is to feel like a woman. And by that, I mean, I can't wrap it up in a nice little bow for you and put it in a sentence or even put it in a few paragraphs. But I know two things. I know that I am a woman. And I know how I feel on any given day or in any given moment. And so, based off of those two truths, I can reasonably assume that how I'm feeling is feeling like a woman. Now, that's not to say that women don't have a wide breadth of experiences and emotions, because we do. And that's kind of my point. Like I said, my womanness, my femaleness is an amalgamation, it's a culmination, it is a combination of everything that I have experienced from birth. Now, it's a biological reality, obviously, but because I have had that biological reality from birth, from before birth, actually, it has colored every one of my experiences, every one of my thoughts, every one of my feelings. And so it's not something that can be easily defined where I can say, oh, this is what it is to feel like a woman. Oh, you feel like that? Well, then maybe you're a woman. It's not something that can be defined. You have to be a woman and then know that how you're feeling is feeling like a woman. But you can't access it through the back door. You can't say, I feel like a woman, unless you are first a woman. Because again, it's so much more than a simple definition. It's so much more than like one experience or even a list of experiences. It's the fact of my entire life from birth, again, up until and through this moment. All of that is what makes up my womanhood. And you can't access it if you were born a male. Now, I do believe that people with gender identity disorder do have valid feelings of feeling dysphoric and feeling like they were born in the wrong body and feeling like their brain doesn't match their body and their body doesn't match their brain. And I'm sensitive to those feelings. I think that they must probably feel horrible. And I can only imagine. Now, to be fair, I can maybe imagine a little bit better than most because, as I said, I suffered from gender identity disorder, not gender identity disorder. I suffered from body dysmorphic disorder and had an eating disorder, and I will link that video somewhere here. So I'm not far off from understanding what it is to look in the mirror and really hate your body and really feel like what you see doesn't match up with your perception of yourself or other people's perception of yourself, and really feeling like your body is fundamentally supposed to be different. I felt that. I get it. And feelings are valid, and pretending like they're not real isn't going to make them go away or make them be any less strong. But feelings don't always point to the truth, right? If I said I feel like I don't want to be here anymore and I feel like I want to give up, that doesn't point to a truth. That doesn't mean I shouldn't be here anymore or that I should do something rash. And I'm sure that most people would agree with that. So just because you feel like you're born in the wrong body doesn't mean that you actually are born in the wrong body. And as I said before in a previous video, the entire notion of being born in the wrong body is really incoherent because it suggests that there's a right body for you somewhere that you just somehow missed on your way to Earth. And that doesn't make sense because the only body for you is the one that you have. That is your body. There is no other body for you. So you can't be born in the wrong body because it's your body. And again, if you were born in a different body, you would be an entirely different person. You wouldn't be you. Especially if you were born in a different gender body, you would be an entirely different person from birth till now. You wouldn't be you. So the only body for you, your spirit, your soul, is the one that you have. Because that is part of what makes you you. Your spirit, your soul is not divorced from the fact of your femaleness or your maleness. It has colored every facet of your experience thus far, as I said. Now, I believe that people, as I said, with gender identity disorder have these valid feelings of feeling like something's not right, feeling not at home in their body, but that does not equate to feeling like a woman. Okay, just because you are a male and you feel not at home in your body that does not equate to feeling like a woman. That equates to being a male who does not feel at home in his body. That's not a female experience, though. Okay. Women don't have the experience of being in a male body, feeling like we were born in the wrong body. That is fundamentally, by definition, not a woman experience, not a female experience. It's an entirely separate experience from being or feeling like a woman because you're a male who doesn't feel at home in your body. That doesn't make you a woman. That doesn't mean you're born in the wrong body. It means you're a male who doesn't feel at home in your body. And ideally, you would get healthcare from a medical professional, from a healthcare professional to help you correlate your mind to reality, to help you make peace with reality, to help you be the healthiest, happiest you can be within the confines of reality and biology, instead of trying to carve out your body to suit a feeling, which is what we do now. But again, just because you're a male who feels not at home in your body does not mean, oh, I'm actually a female and I know what it is to feel like a woman and I should have been born a woman. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means you're a male who doesn't feel at home in your body and that you need some compassionate care to help you get your mind right, not your body, because your body can never become female. We need to get your mind right. And those people who are going to use Chang's argument here, saying you don't know what a trans person feels, you don't know what a trans woman feels. Well, you have to understand that that argument applies both ways. And so it makes the point null and void because it applies both ways. I don't know how a trans person feels. I don't know how a trans woman feels. But on the flip side, a person who thinks that they're trans doesn't know how I feel. A male who thinks he's a woman doesn't actually know how women feel. They're not in our heads, in our bodies, in our experiences. So even if you're someone who thinks that trans women should be allowed in women's spaces and in women's sports and we should just use their preferred pronouns because that's what's polite, you have to acknowledge, if you're honest, you have to acknowledge that the experience of feeling trans is different than the experience of feeling like a woman. They are not the same thing. Feeling like you're trans is an entirely different experience from feeling like a woman. And if you're going to pull the you don't know what they're actually thinking or feeling card on me, I can pull the you don't know what we're actually thinking or feeling card on you. It applies both ways. A trans woman's experience is the experience of a male feeling not at home in his body, wishing that he were a female. That's not the same as the experience of a female having a woman experience. So please hear that. The last thing that I'll say here, and it's kind of tertiary to the main point of this video, but it's my soapbox and I'm gonna stand on it. We know that so often liberals, the left side of the aisle, whatever you want to call them, they're the ones who love to talk about privilege, right? It's not typically people on the right side of the aisle who are talking about male privilege and white privilege. And yet they're also the ones who support this notion of transgenderism. And the two are really contradictory. If you believe that male privilege exists, now I don't. I don't believe that in the West in 2025, male privilege exists. I don't believe that a man can do anything legally that I cannot do. In fact, I would say that legally, as a female, I probably have more privilege than a man in the West in 2025. But that's also for another video. If you are someone who believes that women are still oppressed in some way, and if you're born a male, you're privileged in some way over a woman or female, you cannot then turn around and say women have to accept males as one of us, as part of us. That men can actually shirk their male privilege with a word and say, you know what, I'm actually a female. And now all their male privilege disappears. And we're supposed to welcome them with open arms as one of us. That doesn't make sense. Because, see, when it comes to white privilege, another thing that I also deny, I don't have white privilege, but if you believe we do, we are told that we can never get rid of our white privilege. It'll always be with us. All we can do is use our privilege for good and do the work and try to educate ourselves, but we can't get rid of our white privilege. And yet a man can get rid of his male privilege by saying he's actually a woman. And then we're supposed to welcome him into women's spaces and welcome him into women's sports and call him a woman without question. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why should we have to do that? He's someone who's a male having a male experience with male privilege. Why would we welcome him with open arms into the female experience and then let him shirk all that male privilege? It doesn't make sense. See, I don't believe in male privilege. Like I said, I don't believe in white privilege, like I said. But if these are your beliefs, fundamentally, they are contradictory to the notion of transgenderism. Because again, your entire life, your entire experience is touched by your maleness or your femaleness. And someone can't shirk that by suddenly saying, actually, I'm a woman, by mere words. You can't shirk that. And J.K. Rowling obviously is someone who's very passionate about this. Now, I would disagree with her on a lot of things. She's a feminist, she's a liberal. I'm not. But at least she's consistent because one of her quotes here is, the thing is, women are the only group, to my knowledge, that are being asked to embrace members of their oppressor class unquestionably with no caveat. And this is true. If I were to go up to a black only club or a black only space and say, accept me because actually I identify as black and no, I don't have white privilege, so accept me, you would laugh and also probably be offended. But a man can come up to a female only space and say, accept me because I don't identify as a man and I actually don't have male privilege and I'm one of you, accept me. And we're supposed to do it. Again, if you believe that women are oppressed in some way in the West in 2025, and I don't, but if you do, then you have to be consistent with that and not, as J.K. Rowling says, ask members of an oppressed class to embrace members of their oppressor class. That's not how this works, or at least that's not how this should work. Okay, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you made it till the end, I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe if you have not already. Leave a like while you're at it. Leave a comment while you're at it. And it's unfortunate that we have to keep going over this, but we do have to keep going over this. And logically, if you're being honest, you have to understand that it makes no sense logically. It makes no sense scientifically. It makes no sense in terms of reality. Just think through it. I know we all want to be compassionate, respectful people. I get it. But you have to think through what you're actually saying because it is illogical. It does not make sense. And if you're going to apply it in one direction, you have to apply it in the opposite direction towards women and understand that you don't actually know what women think and feel. Okay. So if we're going to be respectful, let's be respectful to everyone, including to women who have a unique, separate experience from you. Okay. I want to thank you guys so much again, and we will talk again very soon.